So welcome to On the Road to 40 series. I normally do short form videos on TikTok, but I'm not on social media right now. I try to taking a break-ish from it unless I like searching for something. But I've been trying to just stay off because I've been picking up my phone too much or whatever. So I decided to do a longer format video. So I have no idea. I'm just gonna talk. So, like I said, this is On the Road to 40 series. I'm 39. I'll be 40 in November, so it's like less than 6 months away. And 39 is kicking my ass in a way that I didn't expect it to. I finally got to a place where I was becoming more financially stable, having savings and stuff like that. And then last year, I was hospitalized because I was losing too much blood due to my period, because of my fibroid. You know, I couldn't work as much because my energy was just low. Like I literally, like my blood was starting to stop flow to my heart. And, you know, my energy level was just so low. And even after becoming hospitalized, I got a blood transfusion and then I got a few iron transfusion. But it's just taken me a while to build my energy up, and I was finally getting, like, after a few months of heavy periods, because also I had blood clots, I found out, so I was taking medication. So it was just all these contradicting things that was going on with my body and me trying to figure it out. Also me dealing with my regular mental health, issues and stuff like that. So when I turned 39, it just wasn't ideal, but I was still hopeful. I was still, that everything would turn out. I was hopeful that everything would turn out, I guess, whatever during that time period, what I thought it should turn out to be. And so it didn't. So, like, it's really been like, my 39th year has been filled with anxiety and depression. And it's just like, and I know part of it is I'm just low energy, just dealing with my body, whatever. And then I got to a point where, like, my blood flow got better, whatever, and then, like, something happened, and I had a really heavy period, like the ones that was taking me to the hospital. And then, like, my energy level got low again. So I'm, like, building it up, and it's just, in the space of life, it's just like, okay, how do I keep my energy up? Which is also impacting my mental health. And then during this process, my car completely is just like, basically dead. And it's just like, I can't put more money into it because it's just not worth it. And kind of regret putting like the last bit of money into it as well. But yeah, like, I've been dealing, I guess I also been grieving. Like, I've been grieving what I thought things would be. And so, like, work has been slow as well. I work in production, and so it's a little TV and film production, so it's been hella slow as well. And it was starting to get slow even before the writer's strike or whatever here in Atlanta. And so, but it was okay because, the good thing about production, you can make enough money in a short period of time to help with bills and stuff, whatever. And then, plus it helped with me not having a steady job and stuff like stuff, when my period happened, because it was just, I couldn't work. I was literally, so much blood was coming out so many days at a time. Like I couldn't be in office, or I needed time to, that I could rest and be near a bathroom or whatever. So anyway, so I kind of just been feeling stuck, and it's kind of crazy, and it's hard for me to talk to people about it, because I think depending on when you knew me in life, because I'm very compartmentalized type of person, I'm trying to show up as all of me instead of like the compartmentalized of me. So people who probably knew me before the last couple of years would describe me as brave, or, whatever, like having the courage to live the life that I chose to live. And that's just me, like, deciding to drive across country and move into California, even though I never visited California before. And just trying new things and just being experimental with stuff, and just showing up, doing skits and stuff. I think it's just, that type of stuff where I wasn't afraid to just move, even at a younger age or whatever. And it's kind of hard to describe to people that's like, I'm terrified right now. I am like, I don't know. I didn't expect to be in this stage where, even though I know I'm not happy where I'm at, even though the life that I've created is not fulfilling. And even though, like, I mean, just not being happy is enough. Like, I don't have to, like, I think sometimes we're conditioned or been told to that we have to list all the things. Like, we have to have so many reasons to do certain stuff. And sometimes it's just you're not happy. You're just not happy where you're at, and I'm not happy. And I think, whenever I moved back to Atlanta, I kind of moved back in the sense of like, I'm tired. Like, I went from blogging, going to events all the time, and then going into the TV and film production, and then moving across country, and then coming back, and then my ass was just tired when I got back to Atlanta. And I'm not originally from Atlanta. It's just I lived here before I moved to California. And I was just tired. I think it was just like, okay, you moved around, you done this. Like, I think part of me just wanted to feel stable, wanted to feel anchored, And I think a lot of times, and part of that is I don't have any regrets. I'll say that. Like, even though it was kind of a hard time in California, I wouldn't change it. Like, it was, especially when, like, I moved to San Diego first and then I moved to LA. Especially when I moved to LA, like, I enjoyed the city, as in there was always stuff to do or things to keep me preoccupied. And even though it didn't have all the four seasons and all the luscious, colorful trees of the beautiful South, I enjoyed the type of, nature, like the desert nature that's out there in the ocean or whatever. So I actually did enjoy the majority of the time, other than, when I let my overthinking or anxiety get the best of me, So yeah, so when I moved back to Atlanta, I just was like, I'm just gonna get a fucking regular job. I'm not gonna pursue anything creatively. I just want to rest. Child, I ain't been resting since. I think because and well, let me take this back. I have rested. I needed to rest. Sometimes I feel like, you go through down periods of your life and there's nothing wrong with that. Like sometimes you're tired, your body needs to rest. You need to re-energize, rejuvenate, and just recharge. And so I had that period and I got stuck in it. I got stuck in being content with things I wasn't content with. I was just like, I will be content with just doing this or having this or whatever. And it wasn't in alignment with who I am. And so I think after that recharge period, after that growth period, I think I was ready for a change, but I think in my mind it's just like I can't do this again. I think I got caught up into like the fear of things. And so fast forward today, I get, end up working and get, financially stable over the last couple of years. And this is, and I know I'm all over the place, but oh well. I want to also add that this is like 7 years ago when I moved to California. I was 33. I moved a day after my 33rd birthday. So we're kind of coming to the end of a 7-year period, and so a 7-year completion. And I've probably been back in Atlanta probably about 5 years. Yeah, 5.5 years. So yeah, 5.5 years. So anyway, so halfway through my 38th year up to now, I've been tired a lot. I have low energy. I just been feeling overwhelmed with stuff that's happening. It's like, okay, not working, then my car fucks up, and then I'm caught in this lease. And I'm grieving. I'm overwhelmed and I'm grieving. And most of it is because I'm just low energy. However, during this time period, because I'm always reflecting and try not to go into a deep down of a spiral, a deep down rabbit hole of depression and anxiety. I try to listen to and find things to watch to kind of like motivate me or give me like a different type of perspective. And a few months ago, I saw this interview with Laverne Cox was interviewing Leslie Jones, and I know like this is circling around social media, and so she was talking about how she was told that she wasn't broke, she was desperate, and she was saying, yeah, I'm desperate because I'm broke. And she was told, I believe by Cat Williams, like, no, you have talent, you have wealth, basically, like you have this gift that brings you money, but you're making decisions that were desperate, which is taking you away from your gift and also money or whatever. I'm just paraphrasing. And that got me, because normally, like, whenever I'm in a spot or a circumstance where things ain't going out, my first reaction is like, let me fix it. Let me do this. Like, even if it's something that makes me miserable, even I know it's going to impact my mental health, it's like, I become desperate, like, let me find this job or let me do whatever. And I made a conscious decision not to do that. Because I'm like, okay, in this stage of my life, I know how I feel. I know what I want. I know the type of community I want. I know the type of life that I want, what I want to do. I guess career-wise, I know these things, but I know I can get desperate in moments like this. So I made a conscious decision not to become desperate in this moment. And that shit isn't easy because I'm struggling financially and I've had to help. And I don't, borrowing money in this age has really just kind of like fucked up my ego. Like it really, just because, you know, not being financially stable and becoming to a point where you're financially stable in your adult life and then becoming unstable again and then having to ask for help. Like, I'm grateful to be able to ask for help because not a lot of people have that, but it also like kind of dinged up my self-worth or whatever. And also like I don't want to ever make anyone feel like I'm taking advantage of them or whatever. And I'm grateful for the people that offered to help me. I do know that going back to like not being desperate, the hard part is just not reacting to things and not like the hard part about like not being desperate and trying to fix everything, because I've done it before and I know how it can take you from your path and how it doesn't necessarily help you the way that you think that it does. Especially when it goes against your spirit. And you know, and it's and also like it's hard not to be desperate in this economy. It's hard not to be desperate in this world. You know, and you see a lot of people who are millionaires, almost billionaires, being desperate, trying to get money from people, from their fan base, or doing things. It's just like, I think that's just part of the society that we live in. It's just everyone is just surviving however the best way they think is for them or whatever. And I just don't want to just survive anymore. I want to go back to the things that bring me joy. And, you know, I'm fortunate enough to know for the most part what that is. But also when you're not being desperate, it's hard to, I'm not less anxious, or my depression hasn't impacted for not being desperate. You know, it's kind of like, especially like with issues with my car, like, and being more home than I normally am. It's just like, or not, you know, I'm a homebody, but not, you know, being able to move like I normally do. And have to sit with my mind, have to sit with my spirit. Has been a challenge. So yeah, so moving in a space of not being desperate is, for me, is okay. You know what it is that brings you joy. You know what it is that you want to do. And you know how it is that you want to show up in the world. And it's not knowing, and it's not necessarily knowing 100%. Like, I know enough. I have the foundation of it. You know, and not being desperate, it's, you have to honor that. You have to honor your spirit. You have to listen to yourself. Um, and then also, like, I've had to realize how desperate I was in certain situations with, like, you know, when you try not to be desperate, you look back in your life and you think about the desperate decisions that you made, or the decisions that you made out of fear or whatever, and you don't necessarily want to repeat it. Um, I It's hard because I know what I want, and you have to have faith, and you have to, like, right now, like, I'm not happy in Atlanta. I'm not happy with what I was doing for work or whatever. And, you know, but when your circumstances don't really meet where your financial circumstances isn't where you would like to be in order for you to transition. And I guess that's why I feel stuck, is that I kind of got, like, lost in that thing of, like, how am I going to do this? I've heard my ancestors, I heard spirit, and I'm just like, how am I going to do this? You know? And part of desperation is just, you just got to have faith. You know, you just have to detach from the how. And I used to be that, like that, when I was younger. And then, you know, life beats you down, and people get into your mind, and then, you know, life just happens, and you overthink, and then you have more fear, and all these things, just all these building blocks you accumulate over the years, just, it's just like, it's just hard to push past those blocks or knock down those blocks that you've built up. Um, so yeah, anyway, so I don't want to get too off track, but yeah. So not being desperate, you have to have faith, and you have to let go of things. Like, I was, for example, desperation and fear, or more fear based. When it was time for me to sign my lease, something told me not to sign a year lease. And I was just like, well, I was contemplating it before. Um, and then I mean, like, I heard a voice, something told me, spirit told me. And I was contemplating before I signed the lease, and then I heard this, and then my mind was like, well, it's too late, I gotta sign it. Like, I let my mind and fear get into the way. And I was like, I'm just gonna sign a full year lease. It'll be okay. Everything will work out. I'm content with where I am. I was like, I can stay in Atlanta another year. Even though that's not how I felt, even though my spirit tried to let me know. I mean, shit, I could have just signed a 6 month lease, which I should have done. So then I wouldn't have, you know, if I had the option to sign on longer, I could have, but also, like, I would have honored my spirit, and also, like, I wouldn't have been stuck in a situation that I am now. Just accumulating debt, trying to survive in a place I don't want to be at, essentially. So that's an example of, like, not trusting yourself, not trusting your fear. Well, trusting your fear, not trusting your spirit. And and part of that is kind of like desperation, because you're like, I'm desperate to fit myself into a spot where I don't belong because I'm tired. And it is like my energy level is low. It's like I'm feeling this way. It's like I don't want to move. So yeah, that's one of the examples where I didn't listen to spirit, and now I'm in the circumstance that I am in. But yeah, so also not being desperate is isolating. Like, it's isolating feeling this way because when you're not desperate, you're trusting your spirit. Even like, and this is one thing I will say and learn. You can still feel anxious, you can still feel desperate, and you can still trust your spirit. One thing I've learned during this process of not being desperate and having faith is that I'm going to still move through the fear. I'm still going to move through the desperation. I'm still going to move through the anxiety. And I still know that like things are going to happen. Like trying to like get over my mind and listen to my spirit. And you know, that's from listening to certain type of music that motivates me, listening to certain type of YouTube videos that motivates me. So yeah, so it's like, yeah, I'm scared, but I'm gonna push through. Like, I know it has to be more on the other side. And also it's like, it's okay to take a bet on yourself. I think that sometimes we carry so much of our baggage and our experiences with us that it's just, it weighs us down, and we don't know it. Like, and I do feel like I still am carrying certain experiences with me, certain type of interactions with me, and just, you know, trying to let it go, but still being in an anxious space is kind of hard. So it's just like, okay, I know you're there, and I'm just gonna drag it around until I can't anymore, or that I can let go without, you know, at least resisting, because resisting things in this process just makes things worse. So yeah, so I signed my lease. Not signed my lease. I gave my 60-day notice at the beginning of June. And so that's another thing, because still have to pay rent, you have to pay a termination fee, and then you don't get back your deposit if you're supposed to get one. Like, that shit should be illegal. But anyway, I just like, but I know that in one way would turn out okay. I'm not gonna stress about it. I'm not gonna fucking stress about it. So yeah, and so I did that. I've been looking for jobs in a different state, looking for places to live in a different state, but I'm not trying to put too much pressure on me, because you know, it's a lot. Moving is a lot, you know. Moving to another state is a lot, and it's expensive as fuck. But you know what? Everywhere is expensive. You know, that's just the world that we have, that has been created. But anyway, so yeah, so I'm in the process of that, and in this lease, I've also in this process started, you know, writing, working on a script, a screenplay. You know, like I have this little bulletin board that I keep my ideas on. I'm like, okay, well, it's downtime. There's a writer's strike. Um, Let me start writing out these ideas that I have, even if it's just a rough draft. I have a play that I wrote that I am gonna produce, but I was like, let me just write this, let me write this, and let me just get this stuff out of my head creatively, and just be ready for whenever, stay ready. So those are the movements that I'm making, like following my spirit. It's just like, okay, trusting myself. And also I'm getting other like creative downloads. Like, I think I'm gonna try stand up soon. Just at Creative Life. So that's where I'm at through the madness. That's where I'm, that little space that's kind of keeping me calm in this situation. Yeah, so on the road to 40 has been fucking rocky. Shit, it's like I'm back driving on gravel and dirt roads. But it's okay. I think, it's scary. And it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to grieve. Like I have to give myself space to grieve. Give myself space to, like, I'm grieving changes in my life. I'm grieving partly what I thought my life was, where I thought I would be right now. And also grieving, because, my mind is always in motion. It's grieving, like, and also sometimes you pre-grieve, like, what if, I do all this stuff and everything remains the same, like, it's just a grieving process. So, yeah, so on the road to 40 has been kicking my ass, and shit, I'm hitchhiking on the road to 40 right now. Maybe I'll be able to upgrade to a horse and buggy, and then I can like cruise my way to 40 when the time comes, and in the vehicle of my dreams. So yeah, like, so anyone who's on their road to 40 and transitioning and deciding that, hey, or anyone who's in their 30s and above, because we do live in a youth obsessed society, and my gosh, youth creepily starts disappearing for women, like around, I guess, their 30s or whatever, depending on where society is in the time period. But anyway, for anyone who's kind of feeling like, scared, it's okay, be scared. Have faith, push through, listen to music, motivation music to like get you going, like find YouTube videos of people's stories so you don't feel quite alone. It can be very lonely because you can't explain necessarily the process that you're going through sometimes. And sometimes you just, it's lonely because you can't really talk to people because you just want to talk. You don't necessarily want someone to solve your problems. And sometimes it's isolating because I'm like, I'm not asking you to solve my problems. I can figure out certain things, I just need a moment to vent. And then sometimes, it's hard to do that. So sometimes you just gotta like find whatever space that you can find in this world where you feel less alone. However that may look. And know that, like, it's okay. Like, change is hard. Change is hard, especially if you're dealing with medical stuff, mental stuff. Shit, just, it's hard. But you can still keep moving step by step. Like, for me, it's just like, just find ways to move step by step through the fear. And that could be journaling, meditating, going out for a walk. So just, yeah. Also, you're not alone, girl. Boy, them, fam. We all in this together. So yeah. We're gonna be okay. Trusting ourselves, honoring ourselves, even through the darkness, even when there's no light, even when you're low energy, even when you just want to ball up and cry. Just remember that fire that's inside of you that's always kept you going, that always kept you moving. Don't allow that fire to go completely out in you. Even if it becomes dim, don't let that fire goes out, that's in you. So yeah, we got this. I hope this video makes sense. Until next time.